Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Conversations with David. I'm here today with Chris Decker of Data. Chris, I appreciate you stopping in today.
Thank you for having me, David.
I've got a list of questions here and tons of things to talk about, but we want to focus on websites today. But first of all, tell me a little about who you are and kind of what you do.
All right, well, I'm Chris Decker. I'm a creative agent and owner of Data. We're a computer repair, website development, and social media consulting agency in Eastern North Carolina. And I've been a web developer for about 14 years now, and I really have a passion for exploring new ways to communicate and using technology.
Okay, all right, and we could talk about social media all day long, but we want to focus on websites today, and it's really not the question isn't, do I have a website or not anymore. If you don't have a website, you're invisible.
Absolutely, I agree.
And websites have been around a while now, but what has changed since, say, the year 2000 in website design?
Sure. Actually, I think it's changed drastically since 2000. First and foremost, people expect your website to be social now. They have a need to feel included, and they want to be empowered to make decisions, and so you have to provide that outlet for people. I think there's some simple ways you can do this. It can be as simple as a contact form where people can contact you, maybe links to your social profiles like Facebook and Twitter. You can have a blog where people can comment and access you that way. Secondly, I think the technology has changed quite a bit since 2000. I think there's a lot of plugins and add-ons now for content management systems. Pretty much anything you can dream of doing with your website, somebody has thought of a way to do it, and it's readily accessible now. And lastly, I think people really, they don't want your website to be static anymore. It needs to be dynamic. And what I mean by that is back in 2000, you could put up some information and leave it up there for 2 or 3 years and nobody would care. But these days, the way things are, people want new, fresh content on a daily basis. So you have to provide dynamic content. They really crave it.
Okay, so if I've got one of those old websites, kind of what's wrong with that now?
Well, it really gives you 2 big problems. Number one, your customers are going to notice that you haven't updated your website since 2000. It's very obvious with the technology and the way it looks. So it really sends a message that you just don't care. And also, the second problem is you can't take advantage of some of those new technologies we just talked about, and you can bet that your competitors are. So it's really going to leave you behind.
Well, lots of the problems with those old websites, you can't do anything yourself. You have to kind of go to the webmaster, so to speak. So how has that changed?
Yeah, that's changed quite a bit too. The increasing popularity and availability of content management systems such as WordPress and Joomla, they make it really easy to update your site, so almost anybody can do it these days. And pretty much I tell people that if you can use a word processor, you should be able to update your website.
Okay. Well, how about time? We've got a small business owner, how can they do that? How can they stay involved on the website end?
Sure. Well, you should be as involved on your website as you are in your day-to-day business operations. So if people are used to seeing you in your shop, walking through the door and seeing you there, then they're going to expect you to be accessible on your website as well. If you don't have time to commit to the interaction, then you should dedicate someone on your staff to do that. Your clients need to know that there's somebody there, sort of like a customer service representative, that's going to take care of their needs from an online perspective. So your customers really see your website as another form to contact you. It's just like the telephone. It's just like walking into your office. So if they try to contact you online or on your social profiles, they're going to want a response. Okay.
Well, that same small business owner, kind of where the rubber meets the road, kind of steps 1, 2, 3, kind of what are some of the things that they need to do, to put something like that in place?
Sure. Well, I would say step 1 is get your content together. The biggest part of a website project is figuring out what you're going to put online. So if you get your content together and make a list of what info you want to include, that would be great. Step 2 is you should contact a few web developers, check out some of their work, maybe get their references if they have any. Do some follow-up, see if you like them. And then step 3, after you select a web developer you're comfortable with, you should meet with them and set clear expectations as to what you want the end product to look like. You should really have an open mind at this stage, though, because I think that a lot of times your web developer, when you have this initial meeting, you're going to come up with some really cool ideas. So have an open mind during that stage. And step 4, I would say, is once you set expectations and you've delivered all your content for your web developer to use, I would say just get out of their way. And what I mean by that is don't stifle their creativity. Don't hold them back, because you may be surprised at what the end product will look like if you just let them.
Seen
sure, absolutely.
A ton of websites and ideas and things like that. Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned content. Okay. kind of they got to start from scratch? Kind of what are some ways they can kind of get that
Right.
content to put in there?
Sure, absolutely not. You definitely don't have to start from scratch. Some of your content is already relative. If you have an old website, you might just need to refresh some of that content to reuse on your new one. And you most likely already have your corporate branding done, your logos, your colors, and all that kind of thing. So you're already a step ahead there. And then another place to look for content that a lot of people overlook is your current marketing collateral. If it's on your brochure or in your TV ad now, you can bet that that information is relative and it needs to be included online as well.
Okay, well, the loaded question, what everybody wants to know is kind of what kind of time and money are we talking about?
Sure. Website projects can usually range from a few $100s to a few $1,000s. It really depends on what you're looking for. But I often find that many people are surprised at how little it can cost them, relative to spending money on other types of marketing. The biggest and most often time-consuming task, in my opinion, is content development or content creation. So if you already have a good idea of what you want and you already have some of that content developed, that'll save you a lot of time. In fact, a good tip for you guys is if you get your content together before you contact a web developer, it can save you lots of money.
All right, so kind of more upfront
Absolutely.
work you do, time is money type thing.
That's right.
Okay, all right. If they get stuck, you don't know where to turn.
Mhm.
I guess is this the opportunity to put yourself a shameless plug in
Right.
here? So what should they do?
Sure. I'll be glad. If you have any questions whatsoever, just contact me. I'll be glad to help in any way I can. My website can be found at www.chrisdecker.com. My email and social profile links can be found there as well. Or you can contact our company, which is Data. We're a computer repair, website development, and social media agency. We're based out of Eastern North Carolina, but we have a global reach. And we offer a variety of personal and business class services, and we'd be glad to give you some assistance if you need it. And you can find us online at www.datanc.net.
All right, well, there's your commercial. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
And that's all we have today, and I appreciate you tuning in. And we'll see you next time. All the contact information, everything, be here at the bottom and at the end. And thanks for joining us.